and welcome to the 12th episode of the Cape Informers. I'm Christian. This is my good friend Ryan and Karl. How we doing today, boys?
Pretty good.
Doing good.
All right, okay. We got all kinds of spin-offs to talk about today. Spin-offs. We live in a world, I always say, where we need a universe to be built, because if you're not doing it the Marvel Cinematic Universe style, you ain't doing it right, according to everybody.
Of course.
So,
If you don't got your movies planned out to 2028, you're not doing it right.
Exactly. So, Spider-Man, Sony, they announced a while back they'd known that they were going to do at least 3 sequels to their first one, Spider-Man, so Spider-Man 2, 3, 4, and they put release dates on that. So it was 2014, 2016, 2018. Now, at the end of last year, we found out that the Sinister Six is going to come out, and so is Venom. 2 spin-off movies, a Spidey universe, just with one character. Which is pretty cool just to think about, that he has enough backstory and characters that can fill up an entire movie studio's slate.
Right.
But the real interesting news is Drew Goddard, who directed Cabin in the Woods. He also co-wrote it, I think, with Joss Whedon.
Yes.
That may be a false statement. I feel like it's true.
I feel like it's true.
He's also the creative force behind the new Daredevil show for Marvel.
Right.
So he's been selected to direct the Sinister Six. Now, that's interesting in itself. I mean, you know, Drew Goddard, Cabin in the Woods was an interesting flick. It was a real different take on a horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he knows his superheroes, or he wouldn't be getting picked to do all this superhero stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not really overly concerned about that. What I am concerned with is one of the producers, Avi Arad, I think it is, came out and was talking about the story a little bit. Now, we talked about this before we came on for a few minutes. He says that this Sinister Six movie... Sorry, there's an asshole on a fucking motorcycle outside. It's driving me nuts. All right. The Sinister Six movie is going to be a redemption story. Now, we know that the Sinister Six comes together to defeat Spider-Man. So what are they going to be doing that's redeeming? Why are they going to come together?
So they're going to kill Spider-Man. They're going to start fighting crime.
We got no watch out now. Like, how are they going to come together? Especially since another guy, Matt Tomic, another producer, he's been very coy on not telling us if Spidey's going to show up in these films with Venom and Sinister Six. We know more about Sinister Six right now, but like, how are these 6 villains going to come together? Like, what's the driving force? If they're going to redeem themselves, they're like, you know what? We've been real pieces of shit, guys. Are they at like a villain?
Like a little AA.
Yeah, like Villains Anonymous.
It's just kind of like have you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah,
like Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, they're all sitting around.
Dr. Ock is a bad guy. He's a bad guy.
I'm tired of being a bad guy. It's not fun anymore. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me how this is a redemption story. And he goes on to say that, well, all Spider-Man's villains are classically tragic characters. Yeah. Everyone's tragic. See, now, this producer, Avi, he has been on all the Spider-Man pictures so far, so all 5 of them.
Right.
And what's one thing we have in common with at least 4 of them so far? We haven't seen the new one yet.
There's a voice in their head.
There's always a voice in someone's head.
In their head.
Venom's got the symbiote in the back of his head telling him to do bad things.
Dr. Ock has his mechanical hands.
I know, that was something new. They had hey, this mechanical hands will tell you to do bad things. Green Goblin has his split personality telling him to do bad things. And then
the lizard.
Kirk Connors has his reptile brain. But like, when we're talking about like always having to be the tragic villain, like, I don't think Mysterio's a tragic villain. I think he's just an asshole. But Shocker's not a tragic villain.
But you can see in the trailer for Spidey already, Electro, he loves Spider-Man. Because he says it to, I'm blanking.
He says it to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love you, man. Thanks for saving me. I look like shit.
But he says it, and it's like, oh, well, what prompts the change? And obviously, it's gonna be a voice in the head again.
Yeah.
Like it's
This time it's going to be Harry Husband. It's not going to be head just face to face. Yeah, but with these tragic villains, so it's like you said, Electro, it seems, is going to be a tragic villain. Is Rhino a tragic villain? We've seen in the trailer Paul Giamatti unloading freaking clips. Oh, I'm doing this for my family. You know what I mean? Like, well, how is that tragic? And then he goes out and a giant rhino suit and tries to kill him. I'm not a bad guy. I swear. I want to be redeemed.
If there was any other way, I don't take it. There's not.
Oh man.
I don't know. That's
I feel like they should have just gone out and done a baddie film. I mean, Takers, right? Was a movie about robbers, bank robbers, and they weren't the good guys, but somehow it wasn't a story about redeeming or anything like that. It was a movie about bank robbers, and
Yeah.
some of them had emotions, some of them had families, but in the end, it was like, we're all bad guys. We're here to rob. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and we can enjoy a movie like that. If it's a movie about a villain, let's expect them to be the villain.
Be villains.
Right. I'd much rather get into the psyche of the villain than try to be redeemed.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
We were talking about when this first came out about how this could be a new genre of superhero movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, villains, I always say in that Nolan trilogy, were the highlights, and people love villains. We love to see them do bad things.
Right.
And, like, in that interview, the guy Avi goes on to say, America loves people who redeem themselves. Like, America does love a comeback.
Right.
I made that very clear last week. But, we want to see the villains do bad things. I don't want to see Rhino putting out a fire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see Doc Ock, like, you know, pulling kids out of a hospital with his mechanical arms. I want him to see him throwing kids inside the hospital and lighting it on fire. And then the Rhino coming in and killing the stability of the building so it crashes it.
Pure, unadulterated evil.
Yeah, see, so what is the force that's going to drive them to? Is there going to be an even more evil person? This guy is out-eviling us, and we need to stop that shit.
Is that really being redeemed?
I know. What are they going to do?
Where the fuck was Spidey at this time?
Six of your biggest villains are going to be together. Are they going to go on vacation? Like, you know, let's take this out of New York. We'll redeem ourselves in another place, and we'll come back later.
We'll sounds like a Robot Chicken episode.
We'll go like, what's another city that the Marvel Universe uses? We'll go out to L.A. Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Marvel Universe really does love New York, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it is,
stationed in
yeah.
New York. Just everyone's got their own little section.
Yeah.
It just seems New York is never safe. There's just that many
We get
super villains.
Manhattan, they get Uptown.
Daredevil, you get Hell's Kitchen, which is like a tiny neighborhood, but you have to protect that.
Yeah, I was reading a thing about it earlier about the Sinister Six spinoffs, and it was all this talk about how, America loves to see people come back from things, and going back against the comeback story and all that. But It's like, what is there to come back from besides
Murder.
just already being evil people? Like, is it going to be a story about how they decided, you know what? We're going to hang up the capes.
Hang up the claws. hang up
the giant rhino suit.
It's not going to be a movie where they're villains. It's going to be like getting them back into society. Like Mr. Everyday Man.
They're all with the parole officers, and they're going to slowly. I just got you a job at Oscorp. A nice little Oscorp's evil. Let's take it down. It's all them versus Chris Cooper. But the cool thing is, the Sinister Six are going to get, like you said, hang up the capes, hang up all the bad stuff. They're going to get in their business suits, get in the boardroom, and they're going to take down It's about the Sinister Six taking on big business for the 99%.
They have been redeemed.
We're giving back.
I can't envision what this movie is going to be about as a redeemed channel.
Yeah, and even then, it's Spider-Man's the force that brings the Sinister Six together.
What is going to bring
So
them
it's
together?
like, what
That guy's a
is it
jerk.
not going to be it, or is it? If it is Spider-Man who brings it together, then like how do you go with the redemption thing? Like,
Yeah.
Again,
they make Spider-Man to be
villain's
the villain or
anonymous.
something. Like,
The villain's anonymous. And that guy hit me with a manhole cover. They're like,
Like,
did Spider-Man do that? The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
like, are they going to go like to J. Jonah Jameson and be like, try to redeem themselves by being like, Spider-Man's not that bad of a guy. We're really bad guys, and he stopped us, right? We're together with him. They like start like a media campaign, publicity. See, once again, they'll get in their suits. They'll start a PR campaign against Oscorp for Spider-Man.
right. And take Oscorp
To
down.
take on ads to be pro Spidey. I'm pro Webhead. They're gonna redeem themselves. I think out of the two movies by far, I know we've been talking about the Sinister Six for like 10 minutes now, but the more interesting one is Venom.
Yeah.
And the reason it's more interesting is it's not a redeem story. Venom could be a villain. He could be an anti-hero. He's been described as both in all types. And if they want to go with anti-hero at first, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, especially maybe he's the villain in Spidey 3, and then he comes out and be the anti-hero in Venom spin-off before Spidey 4.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, Eddie Brock isn't... he is in a way kind of a tragic character in that he loses everything that Peter Parker gets at the same time.
Right.
And then and Peter's like, fuck this, I don't even want this awesome suit that gives me extra power. You can take it, Brock, you pussy. He puts it on and, he tries to get revenge, and like he has a very clear motive. Fuck Peter Parker, and he knows his secret identity. Yeah, and then there's once again, if Venom's not introduced in Spider-Man, how is he going to be? They're going to have to introduce the symbiote.
Yeah. At least mention that it exists, and they haven't.
That's not something you can mention, though. That's something you have to have a backstory.
That's true.
If they introduce the symbiote, right, in Spider-Man 3, Venom's the villain. Think of the Venom spin-off with Venom versus Carnage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a situation he can be an anti-hero. Because even Eddie Brock, when he's Venom, he doesn't want to take over the city. He doesn't want to kill random people unless they're Peter Parker's friends.
Right.
He wants revenge on Peter.
Yeah.
So even he would, with his power, would want to try to stop this serial killer. And that would be a cool story. And you could go really dark with Cleus Cassidy. That's sick.
I think this is the thing about this is you don't find many spin-off superhero movies about villains ever. This is the first of its kind.
Yeah.
So it's like we really don't know what to expect at this time. Are we gonna see Spider-Man? Is he gonna just stop in, make a cameo with Stan Lee, and then hop out? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I think Venom's a really good place to start with a genre like that because he's not I'm gonna take over the world. He's pretty much purely an arch rival to Spider-Man. So I think good place to start. You can go anywhere with him for a spinoff. He can be evil or he can be the anti-hero. So
and they just cast a good actor in the role. Sorry, Topher Grace.
Grace was so great.
Please don't call. Right. They didn't give you much to do, but what you did with it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
But I just want, I always say, I always defend people, and I'm like, you don't have to look exactly like the comic book character. But the least he could have done was put on a little muscle. You know what I mean? Eddie Brock is a big dude. We always talk about, I always defend Gal Gadot. She's going out and putting on some muscle at least to try to be Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
That's okay.
She's working out in Tel Aviv right now.
Yeah, working out in Tel Aviv. People are putting on muscle for these roles. You could have put on a little, So, that's that with Spidey and his spin-offs. All right, guys. So, more spin-off news. That's the Sony universe. Fox has now, we talked about this a few weeks ago, about how they announced Fantastic Four 2, a very bold move. Wolverine number 2/3, if you consider Wolverine Origins a movie, which I don't.
No.
And a potential just random Marvel project, which we didn't know.
Right.
Some people speculate it's an X-Force film. Some people speculate it's Fantastic Four / X-Men. But now the studio, a couple of the producers for the X-Men films are talking about different spin-offs for different mutants, the way that Wolverine got his own spin-off series that Hugh Jackman leads. And, of course, the name that came up first is the biggest name in Hollywood these days, Jennifer Lawrence, as Mystique, as her spin-off.
Right.
So, fellas, what do you think of this news? Would you like to see a Mystique spin-off?
I don't know if it's going to be an Origins thing. We already know the origin. And we know that in X3, she lost her power. For me, I feel like, what are they going to do with, like, the middle of the years? Like, is it going to be like a 90s kind of thing where she's still with Magneto and still causing some ruckus?
Doing her espionage type of...
Right, what is it going to be about? Like, what is a story? Because we have mapped out pretty much all of her life, as we know of, with
all the way to First Class,
right,
all the way to pretty much her death the next 3.
Yeah.
So, things we know. We know that she's in Days of Future Past. She has a pivotal role, according to the producers of that film. Mystique is going to be an X-Men Age of Apocalypse. It's not Age of Apocalypse. That's the storyline it's based off of, but Apocalypse, which is coming out in 2016. Mm-hmm. Jennifer Lawrence is due back. Nick Holt's due back. Michael Fassbender's due back. And James McAvoy is due back for that film. So we know Mystique is going to be there for that, and they said it's going to be a 1980s vibe.
Right.
So, like you said, I know you said 1990s. Why don't we see what she was doing in the 90s? Let's just go through the decades, all right? We already got her in the 60s. We're getting her in the 70s. We're getting her in the 80s. We need to know what was going on in the 90s when I was a kid, when Rugrats was on. Was she watching? I need to know that kind of shit.
I really do feel like they try to just cash in on J-Law right now. Because, she is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what can we do with J-Law?
It would just be like, we're talking about villain-led spinoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Magneto is one of the most complicated villains.
Right.
And, just even if you just wanted to do a Brotherhood of Mutants spinoff, just in general, with, him and Mystique and maybe Sabretooth, a few other people, if you want to throw in there. That would be so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe we see the
return of Sabretooth.
Yeah.
That would be very enjoyable. Because she does have a fling with him.
Friggin' in X-Men, even Wolverine got with her too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way it goes. Yeah. But I'd be all down for spin-offs. Maybe not just Mystique by herself, because that just feels like a real try to capitalize on Jennifer.
Right, yeah.
But the Brotherhood of Mutants, I think is cool. And the other one, Ryan, you were talking about. Who was the other one that they mentioned they might spin off of?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk going on about a potential Gambit spin-off.
Oh.
So
Remy LeBeau.
we didn't get much of Gambit. I was very excited when they were like, he's in Origins. And I was like, you know what? I'm not as excited. Because he's such a badass character. Gambit, really badass. He compares to Wolverine for me sometimes in the badassery that he can pull out. And it's just you just made him, he's just not as
He didn't
good.
get his due.
Yeah. And so I would hope that they try to do something. I would really hope that
Gambit's now in the Apocalypse. I keep bringing up Apocalypse. I'm excited. I know nothing about it. I'm excited. But they're saying that, I think we mentioned this last week, that besides those people I mentioned before, the people that Singer wants to introduce in the 1980s would be Gambit and Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner.
Right.
So there we go. We get 2 more mutants. We get to see Gambit and that. Then maybe spin off in the 90s.
Right.
Along with Mystique. We just love the idea of spin-offs in the 90s. But you mentioned at the end there. I wrote it in my article when I wrote about Jennifer. Deadpool should be the first person they do a spin-off for, and it needs to be rated R.
Yes.
Rated R.
And he should know that he's in a movie too.
Yeah, he
I
should
like.
break the fourth wall like Frank Underwood in
Right.
House of Cards. Seriously though, he would be. It'd be so much fun to watch Deadpool just friggin' break the fourth wall, be an asshole, kill people, do what Deadpool does best on screen, but it needs to be rated R.
Right.
All right, I mean, just think PG-13 limits you to a degree.
It does.
It does.
You know, and like, I guess there could be a cool Deadpool movie at PG-13, but it
Not
wouldn't
one
be.
bit.
It wouldn't make the awesomeness that an R-rated one would be.
Right. Deadpool's a very R-rated character.
I mean, there'd be a lot of comedic moments in there, and you know, R-rated comedies make money. The Hangover series, Jump Street, Ted, those kind of films make money. And then you throw a superhero comedy genre in that together. Those are two things that make money.
Right. Right.
So, and you cast fucking Ryan Reynolds was perfect.
He was
but you can't bring him back now because now everyone thinks he's the sewn shut, fucking teleporting, fucking sword arm thing. Like I don't even. Like,
Yes.
who was like, this is a good idea? Like, fans will love this iteration of Deadpool. Like, I don't think a character has been more destroyed on the screen than that.
Yeah.
The Merc with the mouth. With his mouth sewn shut.
Yeah.
Sewn shut. I couldn't believe it. I
think they would have been able to redeem.
that was his
redeem it
defining
if-
characteristic.
They just like I would just imagine it's like decapitate Wolverine and you just have him say, "Really? Like that's what you want me to do? Like something."
The only other moment I've ever watched a comic movie that was just like, that is so out of fucking character is when Nicole Kidman's naked in the sheet in Batman Forever, and she says, "I like someone else" to Batman, and he realizes it's Bruce Wayne. He turns around, and you get that weird Batman smile.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
What the hell is that?
I know something you don't know.
Nicole Kidman. Dr. Chase Meridian.
But really, the Mystique, I'm a little skeptical about it. I'm not sure how it's gonna play out. It better have a really good story. I'm really hoping, because it just doesn't seem like it's gonna do much for me.
You can't help but feel like if it wasn't Jennifer Lawrence playing Mystique right now,
They wouldn't have done
they wouldn't really be considering a Mystique.
Think how lucky they got casting her. Those
yeah.
4 years ago. When they casted her, I guarantee you they were just like, she's a solid young up and coming actor. They never envisioned what happened after that.
Yeah.
What she is now.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Hollywood aspect of things, if I'm an up and up executive, I'm like, we need to fucking let her lead a movie. You know what I mean? Like that's smart business.
Yeah.
Like you capitalize on her for who she is. But if they're gonna do that, I don't think they should do Mystique by herself. You need obviously there'd be other mutants in the movie. I don't think it'd just be Mystique hanging out in the general public.
She goes on a suit.
She transforms into a suit, goes into the boardroom, and starts being pro-mutant propaganda. Oh my god. I guess this is a redemption story.
We're all about the redeeming qualities.
Oh my god. Alright, so
It's a perfect storyline.
spin-offs, Deadpool, all that jazz. Good shit. You guys want to talk a little more about X-Men Apocalypse, what we think that's going to be like? Because it's going to be in the 80s. I know Carl's a big 80s guy.
Oh, of course.
Really into that 80s style. They said that Days of Future Past is going to set up Apocalypse, but like you're not going to expect the way it sets it up. I don't even know what that means.
Xavier gets his legs back.
To make X-Men Wolverine, the origins make sense, and then he gets stabbed. And he becomes paralyzed again.
I had not seen this coming.
We're going to fix the continuity issues in this film. But they're saying that it's going to be like a kind of disaster type movie, you know? And it's going to be somewhat based off Age of Apocalypse. Which is a great storyline from the early 90s. Deal with ancient mutancy, all that jazz. I'm just fucking pumped Kurt Wagner's going to be in there.
Yeah. some Nightcrawler action. I mean, we saw Azazel, and he was so badass.
It was.
I mean, he almost stole the show in his action scenes because he was just that good. So I think having Kurt in there, what they did with Kurt in X2 really bothered me. He wasn't as, it was just not as badass.
They gave him the very Christian vibe.
Right.
They did do that because he is Christian.
Yes.
Actually, this week in Deadpool, he married Deadpool.
Right.
But you know, they
Wait,
gave
no,
him-
he didn't. It wasn't a gay couple kind of thing.
he was the what's the person of the peace?
Right.
The person giving the service.
Minister?
The minister, the administrator of marriage, whatever that person is, that's who Kurt was this week for Deadpool. But that's pretty much all they really gave him in that. And they're like, hey, he's blue. And
Right.
he's also Floop from Spy Kids.
Yeah, but like I feel that putting him in Apocalypse.
The justice of the peace.
Yeah.
The justice of the
that's what
peace.
it's
All right.
But
the person.
We're all about justice on this show. So.
him in there, I think will be pretty great. I think that it'll be a good redemption.
Yeah.
He won't be in a suit though, but it'll be a great redemption from what they did to him before.
You know what I just noticed though? All the names I said: McAvoy, Fassbender, Lawrence, Holt, and then we're saying Gambit and Nightcrawler. What Singer never said was Wolverine.
Was Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Is Mr. Jackman going to be back as Wolverine? Because we know he's going to be back as Wolverine. He confirmed in
Right.
Wolverine 2 way back in the future. But, so, is this going to be the first X movie that won't rely on Hugh Jackman as the lead? Because if you've ever read Days of Future Past, in the comic book, it's Kitty Pryde who gets sent back, not
Right,
Wolverine.
not Wolverine.
But because the general public has a craving for Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, we're sending him back. Ellen Page, you got a cameo in this movie, all right? You're not the lead character. Hugh Jackman is. There was actually a funny thing this week. Some posters came out. And it was like of like a couple characters, and the first poster that came out, Wolverine and Mystique. Of course, they
Right.
really are pushing that Jen is in this movie.
Yeah.
And the only name it says Hugh Jackman, and then they show a picture of Fassbender and Ian McKellen, and the only name it says on there, Hugh Jackman. It was funny as hell. There was another one too, with just like two other characters. I think it might have been Beast and someone else, and it's just Hugh Jackman. He's not even in the picture. But it's going to be interesting because all the Singer's movies have really relied on Wolverine. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolverine is the most popular X-Men, I'd say.
Yeah.
Even
Oh, yeah.
though I was on Comic Vine, which is a great site, great comic reviews online, and they had a poll last week, and Cyclops beat out Wolverine. For most
Cyclops
popular.
is dead.
That's between comic book fans.
Right.
Now we're talking about the general
Moviegoers,
public.
Yeah.
Wolverine is by far their favorite.
Right.
Mm.
Oh, is Cyclops coming back?
I don't know. See, that's what another thing. People were like, he's not dead in the 1980s. We're seeing his brother,
Yeah.
but not him. We're seeing Havoc. But and we saw him in the first one. But like, why can't we see Scott?
Mhm.
Scotty doesn't know. Where's Scotty? Don't tell Scotty. Don't tell him myself. Yeah, why can't Scott Summers show up? I mean,
He did show up in Origins.
it's like I said. I fan casted him a few weeks back. Theo fucking James. He's perfect as a young Scott Summers.
Right.
And then we got Shailene, my girl, could play Marvel Girl. Jean Grey.
Ah.
1980s versions. There you go.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, you can disagree with me if you want. You
No,
sound
I-
very unenthused. You're like, yeah.
Wait, no. What's James Franco's brother's name?
Dave Franco?
Yeah.
You want Dave?
Yeah.
Fucking Dave Franco. People don't forget.
I've never really liked Scott Summers. I always thought of him as.
You're not a big Cyclops guy?
I'm not a big Cyclops guy.
All right, that's fine. That's reasonable. Fucking idiot. Right, what about you? Do you like
Tensions have
Cyclops?
just shot.
I'm just kidding. Do you
Yeah,
like
I was-
Cyclops?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Cyclops. I think if I had to say
Who are your favorite mutants?
Cyclops, well, favorite mutant, I was going to say Cyclops versus Wolverine, I'd have
Well,
to swing
Wolverine,
the
yeah.
Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
mhm.
Just because
James
of all the
He-
above.
like James Marsden was Cyclops. Like that never even enters my mind, and the reason is because you never see his eyes because he's always got
Yeah,
the
right,
eyes
yeah,
around.
yeah.
And just like it feels like he's been dead for so long because that movie came out in 2006.
Right.
So you just feel like Cyclops has been dead. So it never comes into my mind like that he played him.
You know,
Yeah.
the reason they killed him off too was because he played who was it in the Superman movie, Superman Returns. Because he got a job in that one, and they were filming at the same time. So like, we gotta kill him off.
And you know the real thing about that is Brett Ratner directed the third X-Men, X-Men: The Last Stand, whatever the fuck it was called.
Yep.
And Bryan Singer, who directed the first two X-Men, directed Superman Returns, in which he cast Marsden.
Right.
So then you go, maybe a little,
Maybe.
a little revenge right there, a Venom kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this can be Scott Summers' redemption.
Right. He puts on the glasses. He puts on the suit.
He puts on the suit. He puts on the shades. And they're like, what kind of asshole wears shades in a boardroom? I can't not take these off. The redemption story. All right. Okay. All right. That's enough X-Men. We've just been melandering on that last point forever. All right. Another thing. Ryan, you mentioned earlier that Marvel has said Kevin Feige, I think that's the way you say his name, big producer of all Marvel movies, even on Sony and stuff, you'll see his name is on there. But just mainly, he's the creator of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was his brainchild, So, he says that he's mapped out the Marvel Cinematic Universe all the way till 2028. 14 years from now, he has planned films.
Yes.
So, of course, we want to speculate upon this. What frigging spin-offs could they make right now? So we were thinking, and it's a popular topic because Captain America just came out, a Black Widow film.
I think it's only a matter of time at this point till we see a Black Widow spin-off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves her.
She's been a supporting character the whole entire time.
Yeah.
And ScarJo can handle a movie on her own.
Right.
We know
Yeah.
that.
She's a Russian spy. I'd love to see her kicking some Russian ass.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Hawkeye team up. Her and Renner.
Yeah.
I mean, like we wanted Jeremy and Cap. That's one of the things we said was missing. But like, I mean, that movie was so good, it's hard to complain that someone was missing.
Yeah.
So like, we get that fixed. Those are the parts of S.H.I.E.L.D. we like. You know what I mean? And maybe they could call Maria Hill from Stark Industries and get her over there. From her nice cushy desk job.
Right.
Yeah.
It could really be a redemption story for these two after working for Hydra S.H.I.E.L.D. for so long. But seriously, they could go in and find more of the Hydra agents with Barn Ron Strucker there. There could be all kinds of possibilities for a Black Widow spin-off film.
And a Hawkeye spin-off film. I mean, that's...
Hawkeye by himself?
I could see it. I mean, we've got the Avengers, and we've gotten,
But is the depth
movies
there?
that lead up to the Avengers. But I mean, the focus is really on 3 people.
Is the depth
And it's
there,
Iron
though,
Man,
for
Thor,
Hawkeye?
and Captain America. You still have the other 3 Avengers who don't... Are we going to get a Hulk? With
Mark
Ruffalo.
With Mark
Ruffalo.
That's something I've been asking. Like, they put Ant-Man, we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy, all after the Avengers, and who got the best reception after the Avengers? It was Hulk, wasn't it?
Mark
Everyone
Ruffalo
was roaring, laughing. No. Mark Ruffalo is Hulk.
Yeah.
And of course, I enjoyed it. I'm just being an asshole because that's what I am. But yeah, I was really. Why aren't we getting a Hulk movie? Is there something behind that? We all know he's coming back for Avengers 2.
Right.
But there's got to be a Hulk sequel planned somewhere.
Yeah, there's got to be something there. I mean, I know that
He's just a hard character to write for.
Yeah,
It's so hard to
the first
explain
2
him.
movies, didn't get the best reception. One of them was just straight up terrible, and the other one was,
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if that's
did a
what's
pretty
like
good
keeping
job.
them from treading those waters again. Or-
It's hard to write his films.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did Abomination because it was cool to see Abomination.
Right,
I
yeah.
did that one with Ed Norton, and that was a cool fight. Like when he has like the boxing glove cars.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like that was awesome. But like it's always so hard to explain how the Hulk is like, all right, I'm ready and I know who to fight and I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I hate. You know what I hate in superhero movies? Dealing with the military. And that's one of the things I hate about the Hulk, like having to deal with the military coming after him. And
Yeah.
like, the U.S. government. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. The only time the government comes in interesting is in every movie where they're like, all right, there's a problem, we need to nuke this now. Like, Mr. Fury, we need to nuke New York City in order to save the rest of the country.
You must nuke everything.
Mr. Nick Fury, this is Barack Obama. I need you to go out there and put a nuke in Manhattan.
Don't ask questions.
Do not ask questions. And make sure you sign up for Obamacare. We can help you with that eye patch.
We just see a whole new political agenda at the next event.
And then it could be Nick Fury's redemption campaign. He goes out there, does some PR for Obama and the government.
That's another thing about the Hulk too, though, is we've only seen him like alone. We've only seen him pre-Avengers.
Yeah.
In this post-Avengers after New York. We
always have to mention, you were in New York.
All this stuff.
A young boy could say it to Tony Stark and he shudders.
Where the world suddenly views him now. In like a movie where the world suddenly views him not as this huge monster, but as an Avenger. Would it be different? Would the military be as involved?
Yeah. They're like, he's
Maybe
an
it'll be a
Avenger.
love story. Oh, a superhero love story. She-Hulk. There it is.
Like, we're talking about for a second about like reactions to the New York thing. Like when Tony Stark gets whispered in his ear from the kid, he's like, "Oh my god!" I just like to say, he cries like a bitch right there, and like has like heart attacks. Right, and like Bruce Wayne and actually Thomas Wayne, his reaction to when Barry Allen brings up his greatest tragedy, his son getting killed, is to kick his ass.
To
Beat the fucking shit out of him. I'm not saying he should beat the kid. I'm just saying, man the fuck up, Tony. I know there is such a thing as PTSD. But like when you're a superhero and like you fly down, and I know you're scared to make the sacrifice play. That was really put out there. So you knew early on that Tony Stark at some point is going to have to try to sacrifice himself in this movie.
It's coming.
So like man up, Tony Stark. But what were we talking about?
The Hulk.
The Hulk
in this post-New York.
Will the military
world
really
and-
care?
Yeah, well, or, I mean, I'm sure they'd still care because he's still this,
Like,
this crazy
where did he go?
weapon.
Last time we saw him,
But
he
even-
was with Tony Stark.
Yeah, they
Let's go
drove
do
off into the
science.
sunset.
He's going back down to like stop diseases and stuff. And
But like even at the end, even though it's not very well explained in the Avengers, he suddenly can control his powers.
yeah.
So let's see
And then we
that.
get to see him
A
punch
world
that
where
thing.
Yeah, oh, that
Face.
was
he's not like
amazing.
struggling desperately to keep his heart rate below. Like, oh, I can't have sex.
That was a story. It was on Smallville. They always had the ongoing storyline. Went on for years. In the first 5 seasons of this show, it was always coming up. They're like, he's like, yeah, I can't fuck Lana because if I do, I'll fuck her to death. And that was like a huge thing. And then all of a sudden, like seasons later, like he eventually gets laid in one episode because somehow he loses his powers. Can't remember how, but he does get laid. And then like later on, like seasons later, he's like banging Lois, and Chloe's like, I thought you couldn't fuck because you fuck people to death. And he's like, oh, well, my training in Jarrell in the Fortress of Solitude, I can't fuck people to death now. I know how to control it. It was just like that. And it was like accepted. Like all this was a plot line for seasons.
to learn how to fuck.
Like this was a plot line forever, and like it was explained in one sentence, offhandedly thrown away, like nothing. So you know what? Just do it in the Avengers too. In Avengers 2, just be like, hey, you know what? I made this watch, and it allows me to control my anger, so I can be the other guy now. My eternal struggle is gone. And that's how we'll get Hulk.
No
2.
more character development going on here.
I'm just gonna turn in the green guy and beat the shit out of him. If you're cool with that, I am. You know what? Like, who the fuck cares about his character development? Like, the Bruce Banner inner turmoil. I'll fuck my girlfriend to death. It's gone. Like, if you're the Hulk having sex, like, does he gotta? You can't wear a condom, you know. That thing's gonna be fucking massive, right? Just kill someone. Jeez, it's not even like the super strength, just that thing. That thing alone. Alright. Any other character besides Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye you could see a movie coming out of that we've seen already, maybe? Maybe not, or a character... Of course, we've talked about Black Panther. Should it be in the plans for Marvel till 2028? He's a character who has more popularity, I think, than Ant-Man, which really makes me question, why is Scott Lang getting a movie before Black Panther?
Yeah. I could... Maybe a Quicksilver Scarlet Witch... like origin story, because they still got to
can't do that.
They still
can't
have
talk
to
about
address that.
You can't talk about that.
They can't talk about that, and they can't address the incest rumors.
So they're gonna have to address that at some point, I imagine,
if
unless they don't.
You know what? I know the origin story. All right, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen are married in Godzilla. All right. At the end of Godzilla, Barack Obama orders a nuclear strike on Aaron Taylor Johnson. I need you to take a bomb, take it to New York, drop it on top of Godzilla, and then sign up for a bomb, and we'll help you out. And at the end, when they drop the nuke, she gets hit in the face, he gets hit in the feet. All of a sudden, he has super speed. All of a sudden, she has thing. They forget they were married. Boom! Kidnapped by Hydra. All of a sudden, Godzilla ties in. He comes in for Avengers 3.
Yes. And then a Godzilla spin-off origin story.
With Pacific Rim. With those giant robots. And then...
So there's only universes to be built.
And Tony Stark builds those giant robots with the fucking military, and then we find out that Hydra's controlling one of the robots, and then there's just like one of those like Rock'em Sock'em robots kind of fights. And then the Hulk takes on one of the robots by himself in the water, and like. All right, somebody's gonna call us up. I just made like 28 movies.
Yeah, we have our own plan that spans to 2028 now.
It spans to 2 movies, 2 different studios. What the fuck are we talking about?
To recap, that was all pure speculation. There's no actual plan.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to another rumor. We're gonna completely go off the Marvel tracks for a moment. We're gonna go to DC. Recently, Holly Hunter and a few other actors were cast in Batman Superman, and Zack Snyder took the wind out of everyone's sails when he said there'll be newly created characters for the film. Well, Latino Maybe this week came out, the Latino Review came out and said that they believe that Holly Hunter will be portraying a Leslie Tompkins-like character. All right, maybe like Leslie Tompkins, or maybe she could be Leslie Tompkins. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Zach?
Yeah, to have an actual character.
We need to create new people. There's no one I could find to play a doctor.
This is Leslie Thomas.
Leslie Thomas. Yeah, so Holly Hunter could portray, and I talked about it in my article, in some ways Leslie Thomas has been a confidant for some Bruce Wayne. Sometimes she knows that he's Batman.
Right.
Maybe, I'm not saying that she's going to be creating the tech for him like Lucius Fox, but she can be a confidant in the way Lucius Fox was. The person who knows he's Batman besides Alfred.
Right.
You know what I mean? He always has one, right? In these movies. So, like, maybe she can be that person. Holly Hunter can fill that role, that void in the Batman universe. What do you guys think?
That makes sense. I mean, it's not like they're going to show Batman scenes and just have Batman by himself all the time with no Alfred or anything. He's just brooding. Like, no, it just doesn't work. Like, you're going to have...
I love a good brooding scene.
He has to bounce his ideas off someone. Or else she just looks like a crazy guy dressed up in a bat suit.
Do you think that?
it. She has a pretty extensive medical background in some of them, so
Yeah,
she could
does.
definitely help out with some
In a
aspect
way that,
of.
like the way they always like, as Alfred grew in time, they're always like, at first they're like, he's just the butler. And they're like, hey, he had some military training. Hey, he used to, patch guys up on the field and shit. And so that explains how he helps him with his injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe they can do that with that'd be interesting. Leslie Tompkins helps out with that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's working for Wayne Enterprises or something. Who the hell knows? They could do a million different things
Yeah.
with this kind of character. But it's just interesting to see that they're bringing in kind of different mythology than the Nolan verse.
Right.
To try to differentiate themselves.
Right.
Maybe they won't. I'm guessing they won't have Lucius.
Probably not.
I mean, Lucius
Yeah.
Fox is a part of the Batman mythology, so let's try to use a different wrinkle. Let's try to do something different.
Yeah.
And, of course, people will be like, "Where's Lucius Fox?" But
They're trying to stay away from the Nolan verse as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people to say start comparing it to the Nolan verse. Because I mean, Morgan Freeman.
all right, first thing you want to differentiate. Let's make the fighting cool. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Let's not have
Let's see some
Batman.
moves.
Let's not have Batman throwing fists that I could throw. Like the moves he was doing against Bane, I could do those.
Yeah.
He was just trying to punch him in the gut, going head, body, head, that kind of shit. It was like Christian Bale was taking the advice he gave to Mark Wahlberg in The Fighter and trying to use it on just boxing moves on Bane. You're from fucking Lowell. The heart of Lowell. The pride of Lowell. By the way, The Fighter is awesome.
Yeah.
Christian Bale was awesome in that movie. Man.
But yeah, that's a big thing when you see these, I guess, reboots.
The League of
I
Shadows
guess what you say is like the Amazing Spider-Man and how they're trying wicked hard to. We're not that.
We're not like them. We're different.
We got all this stuff that they didn't have.
But we still have
He had the real web shooters in his wrist. We made ours like the comics.
Right.
Yeah.
We have Gwen. They have Mary Jane.
Yeah.
We have.
witty comebacks.
Spider-Man's a complete asshole. This one's not. Like, no, but Spidey should have the cool comebacks. And,
Yeah.
like, I'm cool with that.
Mhm.
And our guy stutters a lot. And you guys
All the rest-
skateboard.
all
It's a
the rest- all
skateboard.
the
This
rest-
guy delivers pizza.
Uncle Ben was killed over, money. This time he was killed over beer and True Move. Yeah, so like that, the Batman and Superman, they have to differentiate themselves from Nolan. So using Holly Hunter as Tompkins' character gives them a new wrinkle. It gives them more background mythology. Is there another kind of Batman character you think would fit? Maybe Callum Mulvey or Tayo could be playing, like just like in the Batman universe. If they want to go another League of Assassins route, maybe they could have her play Lady Shiva.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If they wanted to have League of Assassins, and then they call it the League of Assassins and not the League of Shadows.
Yeah.
Right.
And then all of a sudden everyone's like, wait, what's the League of Assassins? What's the League of Shadows?
It's the same thing.
They're the same thing, man. This is cool. I like the League of Shadows name. I think it's actually a cooler name than League of Assassins.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
I mean, Arrow calls it League of Assassins. Do they call it
I
Shadows
think-
or Assassins?
No, there's Shadow. And then there's...
There's Shadow and Shadows.
Yeah.
It's interchangeable. I think Young Justice calls it the League of Shadows.
Do they?
I think so.
Man,
I
it's just
think,
like no one can decide on what to call anything.
They both sound cool.
Yeah.
No one knows what to call anyone in the League of Shadows. Is it Ray Shiraz? Is it the League of Shadows? Is it Lady Shiva or Lady Shiva? What? Is it Talia or Talia? I don't know. Is it Talia or Miranda Tate? I don't know. But
God
yeah,
damn it, DC, make up your mind.
yeah. So Lady Shiva, maybe that's
Put
another.
out a dictionary. This is the official dictionary of the League of Shadows.
Maybe it could be the League of Shadows redemption story, and they.
Raise all the prices to bring crime up and take down Gotham that way.
Oh my god. What Alright, who's another character maybe? Callum Mulvey could play. Another kind of background kind of guy. Anyone got any ideas? Alright, fuck it. Whatever. Okay. One last note on Batman Superman. Awesome little tidbit. Jennifer Gardner was doing interviews this week, his Batman's wife, for her movie Draft Day,
Right.
in which she said that Ben has 17-inch biceps, which are some large biceps.
Those are large biceps.
Henry Cavill might have to, get back in the gym, get back into shape. He's looking like a bitch next to Ben. But we saw a picture of Ben wearing a Batman shirt, and he looked awesome. He looked a lot like Bruce, and I hope he kind of keeps that kind of hair.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Ben sometimes has the kind of pointed hair?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like them to cut it a little bit, you know what I mean? Get that Bruce Wayne kind of shorter hair vibe going.
Yep.
Gel it up.
Actually, you know what that picture reminded me of? The way Bruce Wayne is animated or drawn
In Court of Owls.
By Greg Capullo?
Yeah.
The way Greg Capullo draws Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, that's actually what I thought of almost immediately upon seeing that picture. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
he's got a little longer.
Yeah.
I like Bruce Wayne with the stubble. I really do.
True.
I love that. Like, see him holding the things.
Yeah, he's got a
We're
bit
currently
longer
looking
hair.
at City of Owls right now.
Yeah.
We pulled out our trusty copy.
Always on hand just in case we need to quote something.
And yeah, I mean, he's got, longer hair than... the Greg Capullo one's got longer hair.
Yeah.
But
I think
that
that
doesn't matter too much. It's
Ben,
just,
this picture for me has, it gives me so much happiness because he looks like a guy who could kick your ass in and out of the boardroom. It just looks like he's just that big. It's gonna be good. I'm excited for it now.
He really embodies Playboy outside. And then when because he's got that kind of face, you're like, Ben, looks like, hey, his life is way better than yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's always had that kind of face. And I'm actually reading Gone Girl, the book that he's going to be in that movie too. Mm-hmm. And the guy literally says about his own face, he's like, I got that kind of face that you want to punch in the face. Because you know my life is better than yours kind of thing. And that's exactly what Ben amplifies. His face does look like that. You're like, hey, that fuck. Yeah. But when he puts on the suit, he's gonna look huge. He's gonna be in good fucking shape. You're gonna believe, unlike Michael Keaton, that he went around the world and learned how to fight.
Right. Hopefully he knows how to fight. But
head body head.
Even now, even more so now, I can't wait to see them both in suit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is gonna be awesome.
Oh man.
Now we just gotta see that bat suit.
That bat suit.
That's all we gotta see next.
Okay.
With 17-inch biceps.
Yeah. All right. So one last.
Tailor the arms of the suit.
Get back in the costume tailor room. One last little thing. We're gonna end on a low note. A rumor that is hit me deep. It's really, really scarred me in a way. Colton Hayes, who plays Roy Harper on Arrow, has Instagrammed a picture because we know Instagram is the most reliable form of media. Maybe that's how the Sinister Six will start the publicity campaign through Instagram. The six of them. But Colton Hayes, he posted a picture on Instagram of him and the girl who plays Felicity, Smoke. Fuck, I can't speak English. Emily Bet Ricards, right? And they were both smiling, and he wrote in the caption something along the lines of, "It's great working with this girl. I just put some gifts in her Jeep. This chick's going places."
Just wrapped up season 2.
Wrapped up season 2. And it makes it sound like she's not going to be back for season 3. Yeah. Now, that gives me real pause because Felicity has such a fan following. People love Felicity. She's the character that gives the show some offbeat humor. She's a fun young character. She's the person you go for the ride with. You're like, who would you be on the show? I'd be Felicity. I mean, I'm not that great in shape. I'm not going to be kicking ass with Ollie and Sarah and Diggle. Right. But I could go on the computer on my Microsoft service and do kind of what she does. I mean, I'm not saying we're all computer geniuses. I just mean, if you were in the situation, you try to be funny around all, maybe try to, get that ass. But it makes it sound like Colton is suggesting that Slade is going to kill Felicity. I mean, that's the only option I see as her. Yeah. I mean, I don't see, maybe she packs up shop and goes to Central City, and maybe she goes to Flash. Oh, that's something I just
that maybe that's where she's going.
I mean, Barry
that-
did charm her.
That's
But then,
true.
what's going to go on with Iris? I mean, like,
I mean, in New 52, Flash is not with Iris yet.
that is true.
So that could be it.
All right. Well, I think I just broke this whole case open. Maybe
Yeah,
she
that
isn't
was-
killed. Maybe she goes to Flash.
Yeah,
and maybe that gives
first.
it some instant appeal. You know what I mean? People are nervous about Grant Gustin maybe not being able to lead a show by himself, but you get a veteran from the Arrow
Get a fan
cast,
favorite, yeah.
Right.
and you bring it over, and then it even shows more connectedness
Right.
in the universe. But it just really put me uneasy because I mean she's just such an awesome character, and she's one of the parts of the show that makes it a great show. Because you need, we always shit on the Marvel movies sometimes for having too much comedy, but like you need some comedy, and that's something that the Dark Knight series really lacked.
Yeah.
like the moments
Yeah.
they tried to be funny weren't funny. Like when Batman turns and Catwoman. Oh, that's how that feels like. It's funny to make fun of, but when you're watching it, where you're like,
Classic Batman.
talking to himself in the bad voice. Just like, but like Arrow does a great mix of the like a little comedic moment with Felicity, and then Ollie kicking ass, and Cap did a great job too. But
Yeah.
just I don't really want to lose that, and it sounds like we might be. So
It might be, yeah. Hopefully it's just losing it to
Flash.
another show and not
Yeah.
dying. Because I've been getting worried. There's got to be...
They're gonna give Katie Cassidy because she knows about Arrow. She's gonna be the new Felicity. She's gonna coming in.
I feel so bad for her. I just feel so
She's
bad.
gonna be making jokes like, "You team need a condom, bro and sis." My good friends. Okay, so that's just the last minute speculation. Boys, thanks for being on today, talking about spin-offs.
No
This is a
problem.
real laid-back show this week. We were a lot of like speculation, crazy fan theories. You know what?
Everybody's got-
Every once in a while, you just got to sit back and speculate on what's going to
Sit
happen.
back and speculate. You got to redeem yourself every once in a while.
Put on the suit.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. Live long and prosper.
And Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra.